Hey everybody, it's Jake Mace, the vegan athlete. Welcome to my front yard garden here in the Phoenix area in Arizona. I wanted to plant a tree with you guys today, and if you watch this video, you will learn from my School of Hard Knocks expertise and experience, and hopefully you will not make the same mistakes that Jake from 4 years ago made when planting an edible tree. So I'm going to hopefully give you guys tips and secrets that you can apply today when you plant your tree to make sure that you're 100% successful with growth, fruit, and planting of your edible tree. This is our spot. I found a spot in the front yard. I got a bay leaf tree here. I bought this bay leaf tree for 99 cents from Baker Nursery before they went out of business. And 99 cents, now it's got tons of leaves, and we use these bay leaves in our stews and soups and different curry dishes, so they're very delicious. And we just planted this guy in the ground yesterday. So he needs a buddy, he needs a friend. He can't be there all by himself. He needs somebody to chat with during the hot summer months and talk about their pain and suffering in the Phoenix heat. So I got this spot right here. I'm gonna plant this tree in this spot, and I was thinking to myself, what tree should I plant in this spot? I got a citrus tree here pretty close by. I've got another citrus tree there. I've got morning sun over there, and the sun goes this way, afternoon shade over here, because my house shades these guys in the afternoon. Morning sun, afternoon shade. That means that I can have a successful tree here, because a lot of my trees that are in morning sun and afternoon shade thrive, especially the tropical edible ones. So I thought, let me go to my buddy Seamus O'Leary with Seamus O'Leary's Tropical Fruit Trees, and he suggested I get a white sapote. And I said, well, what's a white sapote? I got a green sapote. I've got a Chico sapote. He goes, no, the white sapote is fantastic. And within the white sapote, the Redlands sapote is one of the best. I got this from Seamus O'Leary's Tropical Fruit Trees, and we're gonna plant this Redland white sapote today. I got my hole started, and I'm gonna let the tree sit here and watch, because I want him to get familiar with the spot that he's gonna go into. So what I'm doing is I'm digging the hole out, and I'm taking the soil. My soil looks like this, and I'm sprinkling the soil around the outer edge. So as I dig the hole, at the same time, I'm making a berm. And that way it does a few things. One, it's going to allow water and moisture to stay in the hole when I water this guy. And two, it's gonna allow me to put a lot of mulch in there and improve the microbial civilization and life beneath the soil. So now that I've got my berm looking pretty good around the outside, I'm gonna take the rest of the soil out of the hole and put it somewhere. And so here's what you have to plant this tree successfully. Guess what? You don't have to have all this stuff, but if you don't, you'll probably be unsuccessful. I want you guys to be successful. So I would highly suggest getting exactly what I have here. Number one, we have a bucket full of sand. This is just regular sand, because this is going to allow good drainage in the soil. Next to the bucket of sand, I have a small bucket of compost from my compost tumbler, which is full of microbes, and it's super nutritious, and it's going to put a lot of life in the soil. When I put this in the ground, it's going to bring the soil to life right away. Next to that guy, I have a whole container full of wood chips here. Wood chips, leaves, some grass clippings, mulch, skins of a papaya, I think, or something. So, mulch, wood chips, and mulch. Over here I have an empty bucket. That's going to be important. I have a bag of worm castings, which is like coffee grounds, but it's the worm castings are what happens when the worms shed their skin. And this is the creme de la creme of organic nutrients you can put in your soil, worm castings. I also raise worms. I do vermiculture here at my house. And but this time I bought a bag of worm castings so you guys can see what they look like. And I also have from Seamus O'Leary's Tropical Fruit Trees a little bag of mycorrhiza. And you see how it says beneficial fungus. So mycorrhiza is going to be important to put around the root ball, just a little bit, like 1 tablespoon, so that we encourage the beneficial fungus to start being born under the soil, and that's the kickstart. It will kickstart the beneficial fungus, which will help to build that microscopic civilization beneath the soil and allow the tree to use the web that those microbes make to pull nutrients in and feed the tree. So what I do is, as I get the soil dug out of the hole, I'm gonna put it in the empty bucket. And I'll meet you guys back here in 5 minutes when I have this hole empty. So you guys can see I got a lot of the dirt out of the hole. And now it's your job to be an artist, okay, an artiste, and look back at the hole and go, how big does that hole look compared to the tree I'm about to plant? It looks a little bigger, but I think it should be bigger. I think it should be bigger. So I'm gonna take my pickaxe here and I'm gonna break up a lot of the soil that's compacted around the hole. So we're gonna go for this and break it up and make the hole wider. You guys see on that hole right now? Some of that black soil is there because 3 years ago I had planted another tree here and we had a freak hailstorm, and right after I planted the tree here, the hail hit the leaves and knocked all the leaves off and killed the tree. So this ground has been sitting dormant, but I had already amended the soil years ago. So it's kind of like Indiana Jones, an archaeologist, kind of finding the remnants of trees of years past. So maybe that's good. Maybe the soil's already alive under there and it will help to bring some nutrients to this tree. Okay, I'll meet you guys back in 2 minutes once I got my workout done. All right, it's about this time in the gardening process I'm getting a little bit of a workout. Nice hole going there. And my mom used to tell me when she would garden, she would go, Jacob, there's nothing better than on a hot day in gardening than to get a nice cold beer and drink it. She would drink the cold beer. And I'm like my mom in a lot of ways. I don't do beer, I don't drink beer, but I do enjoy a nice cold piece of watermelon. And bow to my mom. So now you guys can see how I got the hole pretty hollowed out now. But it's not good enough. There's one more thing I do, the Jake May secret that I learned from Seamus O'Leary. And it's to take the pick, and before I backfill the hole with good soil, I'm going to do one more hack job and break up as much of the clay as I can to make it loose in there. And then leave all this broken stuff in there. And break it up on the bottom. Go over here, break it up on the side. And now I got all this loose stuff down in there. And it's time to start building the soil for this guy. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the compost that I've got from my compost tumbler. This used to be vegan food. Like, there's a sticker from a banana. It used to be avocado pits, and it used to be eggshells from the chickens, and it used to be kale leaves and citrus peels and coconut cores and all nature of stuff, edible stuff. We even put some shredded paper in there to build the carbon. I'm gonna throw some of this in the bottom of the hole to encourage a lot of microbes to explode down there. Then I'm gonna take my sand and I'm gonna throw some sand in the bottom there to encourage some drainage. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of worm castings and throw that in there. I love making a good pico de gallo or a good stew, and building soil is kind of like making a good stew or a good salsa. Got to include the right ingredients. And then I'm gonna stir this guy up and mix it. So we got the clay with the active compost from my compost tumblers, with the sand, and with the worm castings. Because drainage is key. We want to do two things. We want to keep moisture in the roots, but also create drainage. Sounds kind of like an oxymoron, but it makes sense. We don't want the moisture to be so good that the root ball sits in a mucky pond swamp. And we don't want the roots to necessarily dry out and become compacted in that clay. So we want to have the roots flush, but also retain healthy moisture without fermenting down there. Now I'm going to take the tree and set it in his new home. Yes! And look what happened. The top of the crown of the root ball, the top there is way too deep, which means I got to add some more soil in there. About 6 inches more. It's a process, man. It's trial and error. I'm not perfect. Are you perfect? I'm gonna grab some of the clay that we dug out, layer it in there. Then add in some of the sand. Then add in some of the worm castings. And then the secret bag. Oh yes, the secret bag of goodness. This is key, you guys. We sell this on jakemace.com because I couldn't find it anywhere else in the valley. So if you want to get some from me, you can. You can go on Amazon too and stuff. But if you want to get it from me, go to jakemace.com, click on the gardening link. It's azomite. The A to Z of minerals, including trace elements. 70 different minerals and trace elements from an ash bed in southern Utah, northern Arizona. And this is going to help to remineralize the soil and bring those trace elements and life back to the soil. I think this is a $5 bag on jakemace.com. Let's mix it up again. I'm going to estimate now that that hole is about perfect height. So I'm going to take the tree out of the pot here, and what's cool about this redland white sapote right now is that, look, Seamus O'Leary does such a good job with his trees over there. He got into fruit in the pot. So this sapote already has 2 sapotes on him. And you guys can see down here it says redland white sapote. And I always feel guilty taking trees away from Seamus O'Leary's because he's got them so healthy over there. I feel like I'm doing the trees a disservice, but I think that now that I've studied a little bit with Seamus himself, I think I'm gonna give this guy a better life in the ground. So let's take him out of here, and hopefully we'll do such a good job that these fruits will ripen and we can taste them on camera. Because if you guys subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for me and subscribe, I'm gonna do a monthly update on this tree for the next few years. So you guys can see how this tree is growing here at my urban garden, Longevity Gardens. Now, keep as much of the root ball intact as you can. I'm gonna stand back and see if the tree looks like how I want him to be turned. I think I'm going to turn him a little bit this way, just because I know the sun's over there and I want him to grow toward the sun. So this is all just feel. You got to feel it out. Make sure that the trunk is straight. And now I feel like the clock has started. Beep! The timer is going. And I have only a few short minutes until this guy starts to get stressed out. And so I want to backfill this guy with healthy stuff and then water him right away, so that he doesn't have any stress and he continues to grow healthy and nice. So let's get going here. A little bit of soil. This is the native soil. Before we cover the root ball, we're going to take the mycorrhiza from Seamus O'Leary's here. It's like mycorrhiza, mycorrhiza. And we're going to take just about 1 tablespoon of this and sprinkle it just on the side of the root ball, 360 degrees around the entire root ball. And just about that much is going to do it. So I would say 1 or 2 tablespoons. That's also what it suggests on the label here from Seamus, 1 to 2 tablespoons around the root ball. You can also order the mycorrhiza from us at jakemace.com too. I'm gonna add in some sand, again for that drainage. We're gonna add in some of those worm castings. And then mix it up a little bit. Then do this a few more times. And this is the part that really confuses people, so I don't want to cut away. I want to let the camera roll because this part really confuses people. I want you guys to see the entire process of me filling this thing in so you guys can see how I do it. Native clay, sand, a little bit of worm castings. All in there. And then I'm gonna put one more little bit of azomite, the rock dust minerals, the A to Z of minerals and trace elements. Get the minerals back in the soil here. And we're gonna mix up this mixture here again. Stir it up. And do it again. Native clay. See, I'm putting mostly native clay, but I'm breaking up the native clay with the sand, worm castings, azomite, in order to make it softer and contain better drainage. More sand. Dump the rest of the sand inside my native clay. A little bit of worm castings in there. I'll dump some more worm castings in this guy here. And then the last bit, I'll just kind of add one more bunch of soil. And then I'm going to use my hands and move the soil around here. Move it all around. And you guys can see how that tag is still there, right? I'm going to take the tag away. Don't forget, Redland White Sapote. And then I'm going to make sure that the top feeder roots are just barely poking out of the soil. I am going to cover these feeder roots with mulch, but not with soil. The mulch allows more oxygen to get through, but the soil would suffocate them. So I want to keep those guys exposed, just like that. I'm going to remove this stake very carefully. And lastly here, I got some composted mulch that I've composted myself. This was good mulch that I've let compost over a couple years. This is broken down mulch and really good to mix into the soil. So I'm gonna put this on top here and I'm gonna stir it in. And mix in a bit of that composted mulch. And one more time, smooth it out. But I always kind of stand back and make sure the tree looks the way I want it to look, and it'll be like this because I'm going to put a stake in the ground at the end and stake him straight. And then I'm going to take the mulch that I brought in this big guy, and I'm going to throw this mulch in here on top. What I'm doing right now is the #1 reason why you guys are watching this video. If there's one thing that you take away from this video, it's gonna be wood chips, baby, wood chips. Put the damn wood chips on top of your damn trees. If you don't use the wood chips on top, then you're a fool. Because you're gonna have unhealthy trees that won't feed very well, that won't have good life underneath the soil, and you'll use 3 times to 10 times more water than me. Mulch, leaves, pine needles, wood chips on top. That is the key to having a healthy, edible tree in Phoenix. Wood chips on top. What I'll be doing is, you guys can see the citrus trees next to me, how their wood chips is mounded up like a donut on top. In 2 days from now, I'll be mounding up a donut of mulch on top of this tree. And I'll add to that mulch at least 2 or 3 times a season. So half a dozen to 10 times a year, I'll replenish and add to this mulch. Now we're done, we can go to sleep. We can go inside and take a load off, and the tree will be good. Oh wait, we forgot to water the guy, the most important part. I'm not just gonna water this guy, I'm gonna bring you guys on a journey to my koi pond. Come on over. As you guys can see behind me is the koi pond. We got some great koi in there, and since I'm vegan and I'm into preserving the sanctity and the freedom of animals, I did not buy any of these koi. I adopted them. I put an ad on Craigslist and said, hey, if you have koi fish that you guys need to find a house for, we'll house them. And I got calls from 80 people, and I had to take the ad off Craigslist. We got so many people. So the koi fish are in there, and you guys can take a look at them. And what they do is they eat the food. They also like watermelon, citrus, they like cucumbers, Cheerios, all kinds of stuff like that. And the koi poop in the water, and then the plants, especially my tropical plants, get the water from the pond on them, which is infused with fish poop. So I always include a bucket or 2 of fish water, especially when putting in a new tree. And I also have a pump that I set in the pond with a hose attached to it that I water the trees directly with the hose that gets the water directly from the pond, kind of like my own version of aquaponics. So I'm going to dip this bucket in the water, fill up my 5 gallons of pond water, and let's go back to our tree. There's also a method to watering a tree. So what I do with a new tree is I water the outer mound of dirt and the berm that we made first. And that just helps to settle all the dirt and make it more of an actual berm, compacted. Then I'll like spray the tree. Here's a shower for you, Mr. Tree. Spray the mulch. I just feel like the tree likes to drip the water from the leaves into the mulch, and then I'll set the hose on there, very slow water, and like that. And I'm gonna visualize what it's gonna take to fill up that entire hole that we dug, because I want the whole hole full of water, and then to really give the tree all those nutrients right away. So all that mycorrhiza and azomite and worm casting and composted mulch and native soil and sand. I want all to flood that root system and energize the tree right away. And we also add in the pond water, which if you guys have kids and have like a fish tank at home, you can clean your fish tank out and use your fish tank water. And I'm just gonna pour the pond water in there as well and try to well up the tree without blasting the roots too hard. So nice and gentle, nice and slow. We need to have some control. We need control and strength together. And then I'll wash my hands off and try to clean up in the mulch pit of the tree so that I can go inside and kiss my wife Pam without getting in trouble. So in Chinese culture, there's a very famous general who is called Emperor Guan. And Emperor Guan was a general during the Three Kingdoms period in Chinese history, and he's got a lot of famous stories attached to him, such as he was in battle one time and a poisoned arrow hit him in the arm, yet he kept fighting, and then a doctor named Hua To healed his arm by shaving the bone down while the general played chess with the other hand, because he didn't want to be put under because he was afraid of assassination. So he drank a narcotic tea that numbed the pain, and he won the chess game during the surgery and things like that. So nowadays, General Guan is worshipped as a god in the Buddhist faith. So whenever you go to a Chinese restaurant or a Chinese establishment or a Chinese business or a home, you'll see a statue and a shrine, a little tiny shrine to General Guan facing the front door to scare off the evil and bring in the good fortune into the business or home. So since this guy's called a redland sapote. I thought we might name him after General Guan because General Guan has so much chi flowing through his body that his face is always red. He's the red face. And China is the land of the rising sun, which is always red. So I thought it'd be cool, since I studied Chinese in college and I do Chinese Kung Fu and I do Chinese Tai Chi and I train Chinese Qigong and I've been to China so many times in my life that it'd be cool if I had a tree named for China. And so I'm gonna call this tree General Guan. So in future videos, when I give you guys an update, I'll refer to this redland white sapote as General Guan. It looks like General Guan is leaning to the left a little bit right now. I'm gonna get a stake here and try to stand General Guan up. I'm gonna tie this guy to the stake here. And as he gets stronger and straighter, I'll take the stake away so it encourages him to grow taller on his own. But for now, there we go. My white sapote General Guan. And check out these citrus here. The citrus in the back. I'm 6'1", 190 pounds, so that's the size of me behind the tree. And over the next few months, if you guys subscribe to our channel, I'll give you guys a monthly update of how General Guan is doing. Hope you guys enjoy those update videos. We already do updates on our Aravaipa native Arizona avocado, so check those updates out, and the moringa trees. And I'm looking forward to bringing you guys updates of General Guan, and I'll also update you when I eat the fruit that ripens down here. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up for me. Subscribe to our channel. Check me out on Facebook at jakemace.taichi, and I'll see you guys back here next time.